The wedding band sat in its velvet box on my dresser, catching the morning light. 40 years. My wife Sarah would have been so proud. I'd planned this day for months, booking the same restaurant where we'd celebrated our first anniversary, inviting close family. Just a small gathering, nothing fancy. My phone stayed silent all morning. I made coffee, the same way Sarah taught me before she passed 3 years ago. 2 scoops, not 3. Let it brew slow. I sat at our kitchen table, the one we'd refinished together in '98, and waited. The invitation had been clear, celebrating 40 years since Sarah and I said, "I do." Would mean the world to have you there. 6 p.m., Antonio's. Love, Dad. By noon, still nothing from my son Eric. I called the restaurant to confirm the reservation. Party of 8, I said, though I was starting to doubt that number. My daughter Jennifer had texted at 10 a.m., apologizing. Some emergency with her twins. I understood. Kids get sick. But Eric? Radio silence. At 2 p.m., my phone finally rang. Eric's wife, Michelle. "Hey, Frank. Listen. Eric's swamped with this work thing. We're not going to make it tonight. Sorry." Work thing? On a Saturday? Michelle, it's our anniversary. Sarah's and mine. I sent the invitation 6 weeks ago. Oh, right. Yeah. He's just really busy. You know how it is. I knew exactly how it was. This was the 4th event Eric had missed this year. My retirement party. Easter dinner. My birthday in March. Each time, a different excuse. Each time, Michelle calling instead of him. "Tell Eric I hope his work goes well," I said, keeping my voice steady. After I hung up, I sat there for 20 minutes, staring at the centerpiece Sarah had made decades ago, dried flowers she'd pressed from our actual wedding bouquet. Then my phone buzzed. Not a call, a text, from Jennifer. "Dad, I need to tell you something. Don't be mad. Eric posted on Facebook an hour ago. He's in Napa, with Michelle and her parents. Some wine tour thing." My hands went cold. I opened Facebook, something I rarely did. There it was. Eric, Michelle, and her parents, standing in front of some vineyard, glasses of wine raised, huge smiles. The caption, "Surprise anniversary trip for Bob and Carol. 35 years and still going strong. So grateful for these amazing in-laws. Number blessed, number Napa Valley, number family goals. Anniversary trip for Michelle's parents." I clicked on the photos. There were dozens. A luxury hotel. Some fancy restaurant with tasting menus. Hot air balloons. The whole package. I texted Jennifer back. "How long have they been planning this?" Mom's friend told me they booked it 3 months ago. "I'm sorry, Dad. I didn't know how to tell you." 3 months ago? A month before I sent my invitation. I called the restaurant and canceled the reservation. Then I sat in Sarah's chair, the one I'd kept exactly as she left it, and tried to remember when things had changed with Eric. It wasn't always like this. Eric had been a good kid. A great kid, actually. He'd worked 2 jobs to help pay for college when my construction business hit a rough patch in '08. He'd been the one who held Sarah's hand in the hospital during those final weeks, reading to her when I was too choked up to speak. But something shifted after he married Michelle 5 years ago. Slowly at first, missed calls, shortened visits. Then the requests started. "Dad, can you help us with the down payment? Just $25,000. We'll pay you back." I'd given it to them, from Sarah's life insurance. The money she'd left specifically for my retirement. "Dad, Michelle's car died. Can you spot us $15,000 for a new one? Just temporary." I'd given that too. Taken it from the college fund I'd started for Eric's future kids. "Dad, we need to renovate the kitchen. Michelle's parents are coming to stay. Can you lend us $35,000? That one I'd taken from my own savings. The money I'd set aside for the trip to Ireland Sarah and I had always planned but never took. $75,000 total. Not once had I asked for it back. Not once had Eric offered. And now here he was, spending God knows how much on a luxury vacation for Michelle's parents, while blowing off his own father on his mother's anniversary. I stood up and walked to my office. The spare bedroom Sarah had converted into my man cave when I retired. I kept all my important documents there. Bank statements, insurance papers. The folder labeled Eric, Loans. I opened it. Inside were copies of every check I'd written, every transfer I'd made. $75,000. Documented. Plus interest. If I calculated it at even a modest 3% over 5 years. $91,000. I sat down and did something I hadn't done in years. I cried. Not for the money. For my son. For the boy who used to make Sarah cards out of construction paper. For the teenager who'd mowed lawns every summer to save for his first car because he didn't want to be a burden. For the young man who'd promised at Sarah's funeral, "I'll take care of you, Dad. We'll take care of each other." When had that person disappeared? My phone rang again. Jennifer. "Dad, where are you?" "I'm at Antonio's. I got a sitter last minute. I know you canceled, but I thought we could still do something." Sweet Jennifer. She'd always been the reliable one, the one who called every Sunday, who brought the grandkids over every other week, who'd help me sort through Sarah's things when I couldn't bear to do it alone. "I'm home, honey. I didn't think anyone was coming. Give me 20 minutes. I'm bringing dinner to you." She arrived with Italian takeout and a bottle of wine. We sat at the kitchen table, and I told her everything. The loans, the missed payments, the missed events, Napa. Jennifer's face went red. "Dad, why didn't you tell me? Why did you keep giving him money? He's my son. That's what fathers do." "No, Dad. Fathers teach their children responsibility. You didn't fail, Eric. He's failing you." We ate in silence for a while. Then Jennifer said something that changed everything. "Dad, did you know Eric and Michelle just bought a boat?" I set down my fork. "A boat?" 32 feet. Michelle posted about it last month. She said it was Bob's retirement dream, and they wanted to make it happen for him. Cost them $140,000. The room tilted. $140,000 for Michelle's father, while owing me $91,000. "Dad, you need to do something. This isn't okay." After Jennifer left, I sat in the dark living room, looking at the photos on the wall. Sarah at our wedding, Eric as a baby, Jennifer's graduation, Sarah and me on our 25th anniversary, her smile bright despite already knowing something was wrong with her health. What would Sarah say if she were here? I knew exactly what she'd say. Sarah never tolerated disrespect, even from family, especially from family. "Frank," she'd told me once when Eric was a teenager and got mouthy, "love doesn't mean being a doormat. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is let people face consequences." I picked up my phone and called my lawyer, Tom Henderson. We'd been friends since high school. "Tom, I need you to draft something for me. Tomorrow morning, if possible." "Sure, Frank. What are we talking about?" "A formal loan repayment demand. $91,000, including reasonable interest, to be paid within 60 days. Tom was quiet for a moment. "This is about Eric, isn't it?" "How'd you know?" "I saw the Facebook posts. Bob's my accountant. He was bragging about that Napa trip. Said his daughter's husband spent $18,000 on it. Frank, I'm sorry. $18,000 in one weekend for people who already had everything. Draft the papers, Tom. I'll come by Monday to sign them." That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying moments. Eric's first day of school. How he'd hugged me tight and whispered, "I love you, Daddy." Eric's high school graduation. When he'd thanked me in his speech for always believing in me. Eric at Sarah's funeral, promising to be there. Where did that boy go? Monday morning, I signed the papers. Tom offered to serve them through a process server, but I said no. I'd deliver them myself. I drove to Eric's house, the one I'd helped him buy with that $25,000 down payment. The house in the nice neighborhood with the good schools. The house with the new kitchen I'd helped fund. Eric's car was in the driveway. I knocked. Michelle answered, still in her robe. "Frank? What are you doing here?" "I need to see Eric. He's sleeping." The trip wore him out. I stepped inside. "Wake him up." Something in my voice must have registered because Michelle didn't argue. 5 minutes later, Eric came down, looking annoyed. "Dad, it's Oituam. What's so important?" I handed him the envelope. "This is a formal demand for repayment of the loans I've given you over the past 5 years. $91,000, including interest. You have 60 days. Eric's face went white. Dad, what are you talking about? Those weren't loans. Those were gifts. No, son. I kept records. Every time, you said you'd pay me back. I'm holding you to that. Michelle stepped forward. This is ridiculous. You can't just demand money back after years. I can, when it was always a loan. I have the documentation. Every conversation. Every promise to repay. Tom Henderson drew this up. It's legal. Eric's shock turned to anger. Are you serious? You're really doing this? As serious as the $18,000 you spent on a vacation for Michelle's parents while ignoring your own father on your mother's anniversary. The room went silent. How did you? Eric started. Facebook, son. You posted about it. While I sat alone at home, waiting for you to even send a text. Michelle's face flushed. That's not fair. Bob and Carol's anniversary is important to us. And mine wasn't? The 40-year anniversary of the marriage that created your husband? Eric sat down hard on the couch. Dad, I forgot, okay? I'm sorry. We've just been so busy. Busy enough to plan a trip 3 months in advance. Busy enough to spend $140,000 on a boat for Bob. But not busy enough to remember your own father. Wait, Eric said, his voice rising. How do you know about the boat? I know a lot of things, Eric. I know you've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on Michelle's family while owing me nearly $100,000. I know you've missed every important event in my life this year. I know that I don't matter to you anymore. That's not true. Then prove it. 60 days. $91,000. I walked out before he could respond. The calls started that afternoon. First Michelle, crying, saying I was tearing the family apart. Then Eric, angry, accusing me of being spiteful. Then Michelle's mother, Carol, having the audacity to tell me I was being difficult. I didn't answer any of them. Jennifer called that evening. Dad, Eric called me, freaking out. Is it true? Every word. Good. It's about damn time. The next few weeks were quiet. Too quiet. Then, on day 45 of the 60-day deadline, Eric showed up at my door. He looked terrible. Thinner, dark circles under his eyes. Can I come in? I stepped aside. We sat in the living room. Eric looked at the photos on the wall, his eyes stopping on one of him and Sarah at his college graduation. I miss her, he said quietly. I do too. Dad, I don't have $91,000. I don't even have half that. Then you have a problem. We'd have to take out a loan. Or sell the boat. That sounds like a consequence of poor financial decisions. Eric's jaw tightened. You're really not going to back down? Why should I? You didn't back down from spending $18,000 on a vacation for people who aren't even your parents. Bob and Carol have been good to us. And I haven't? I gave you every advantage, Eric. I worked double shifts to pay for your college when my business was failing. I gave you money I needed for my own retirement. I did it gladly because you're my son. And you repaid me by treating me like an ATM that you can ignore when it's inconvenient. Eric stood up, pacing. What do you want from me, Dad? You want me to grovel? I want you to understand what you've done. I want you to feel a fraction of what I felt sitting alone on your mother's anniversary. I want you to realize that people aren't bank accounts you can withdraw from and never replenish. So this is about the anniversary? This is about 5 years of taking me for granted. The anniversary was just the final straw. Eric sat back down, his head in his hands. Michelle's gonna kill me. Michelle is part of the problem, son. You've become so focused on impressing her family that you've forgotten your own. We sat in silence for a long moment. I need more time, Eric finally said. You have 15 days. That's not enough. It's what you have. Eric left without another word. Day 60 arrived. No payment, no call. I contacted Tom. File the lawsuit. Frank, are you sure? This will damage your relationship with Eric. Tom, there is no relationship to damage. He's already chosen. The lawsuit was filed that afternoon. Eric was served at his office. He called me 15 minutes later, furious. You actually did it? You're suing me? You gave me no choice. I'm your son. Then act like it. He hung up. 3 days later, a check arrived by certified mail. $91,000. Not from Eric's account. From Bob and Carol's. I called Eric immediately. What is this? Michelle's parents loaned it to us. Happy now? You took money from your in-laws to pay your father? What did you expect me to do? You were going to take me to court. I expected you to figure it out yourself. I expected you to take responsibility. Instead, you just found another parent to bail you out. You're unbelievable, Eric spat. Mom would be ashamed of you. That's when something broke in me. Don't you dare, I said, my voice shaking. Don't you dare invoke your mother to justify your behavior. Your mother taught you better than this. She taught you honor and integrity and the value of family. You've dishonored every lesson she ever gave you. At least Michelle's parents understand family loyalty. Family loyalty? Is that what you call it? You bought them a boat, Eric. A $140,000 boat. You spent $18,000 on a vacation for them. You've probably spent close to $300,000 on them in the past few years, while owing me $91,000. That's not loyalty. That's you trying to buy approval from people who already have money because it's easier than being a real son to the father who actually sacrificed for you. Eric was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was cold. You know what, Dad? Keep the money. Consider it payment for all those years you held over my head how much you sacrificed. You want to know the truth? Michelle's parents never make us feel guilty. They never remind us what they've done for us. They just love us. I never made you feel guilty, Eric. I never asked for anything in return. I just wanted my son. But apparently, that was too much to ask. Maybe it was. He hung up. I stood there, holding the check, feeling like I'd lost my son for real this time. Jennifer came over that night. I told her everything. He'll come around, she said, but she didn't sound convinced. Maybe he won't. Maybe that's okay. Dad, don't say that. Jenny, I'm 63 years old. Your mother's gone. I've spent the last 3 years waiting for Eric to remember I exist. I've spent 5 years being an ATM instead of a father. I'm tired. So what are you going to do? I looked at the check on the table. $91,000. I'm going to Ireland, I said. What? Your mother and I always planned to go. We never did because we were always saving money for something else. For Eric's education. For his wedding. For his down payment. Well, Eric doesn't need me anymore. He has Bob and Carol. Jennifer started crying. Dad, I need you. I pulled her into a hug. And I'll always be here for you, honey. But I need to live my life now. I need to do something for myself. 2 weeks later, I was on a plane to Dublin. I'd planned a month-long trip, Ireland, Scotland, even a few days in Wales. All the places Sarah had circled in the travel books we'd collected over the years. I brought her ashes with me, small portions in a special urn the crematorium had provided for travel. At every meaningful spot, I'd release a little bit of her, on the cliffs of Moher, in the Highlands, at a small church in Wales where her grandmother had been married. Eric didn't call. Not when I texted him that I was leaving. Not while I was gone. Not when I returned. But something unexpected happened while I was traveling. I met people. Widowers like me. Retirees who'd decided to put themselves first. We'd share stories over whiskey in pubs. Compare notes about children who'd drifted away. Make each other laugh about the absurdity of it all. One man, Patrick, became a good friend. He was from Boston, had a similar story with his daughter. We ended up traveling together for 2 weeks. When we got back to the States, we stayed in touch. I came home different, lighter somehow. Jennifer noticed immediately. Dad, you look happy. I am, I realized. And I was. I sold the big house, the one with too many memories and too many empty rooms. Bought a smaller condo closer to Jennifer. Used the leftover money to set up college funds for her twins. Real ones this time, that I controlled. I started going to a woodworking class at the community center. Made some friends. Even went on a few dates, though nothing serious. 6 months after I returned from Ireland, my phone rang. Eric. I almost didn't answer. Dad? Hi, son. Can we talk? In person? We met at a coffee shop halfway between our homes. Eric looked different too. Older. Maybe more tired. I've been in therapy, he said without preamble. Michelle and I both have. Marriage counseling. I sipped my coffee and waited. The therapist pointed out some things. About how I've been treating you. About how I've been so focused on proving myself to Bob and Carol that I forgot about my own father. Why did you feel you needed to prove yourself to them? Eric was quiet for a long moment. Because they have everything. Bob's this successful doctor. Carol's from old money. They have this perfect life, this perfect family. I always felt like I wasn't good enough for Michelle. Like I needed to show them I could provide. By using your father's money? He flinched. I didn't see it that way at the time. I just saw it as, you were helping me build a life, while you helped Bob build his retirement dreams. Eric nodded slowly. I can see how messed up that was now. I can see how I took you for granted. I can see how I chose them over you, over and over. Why the change of heart, Eric? 6 months ago, you told me Mom would be ashamed of me. I know. He looked down at his hands. Bob and Carol's boat sank. I blinked. What? 3 weeks after they got it. Hit some rocks? Total loss. Insurance is fighting the claim because Bob didn't have the proper maritime license or something. They're out $140,000. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you? Because I thought you'd be happy. Karma and all that. Eric, I never wanted Bob and Carol to suffer. I just wanted you to see that you were building your life on someone else's foundation. That you were choosing them over the father who actually raised you. Eric nodded slowly. Bob asked me for money to help cover the loss. Something in my chest tightened. What did you say? I said no. I told him that Michelle and I are tapped out, that we're still paying off the loan they gave us to pay you back, that we need to focus on our own finances. How did he take it? He was furious. Said we were ungrateful, that after everything they'd done for us, this was how we repaid them. Carol hasn't spoken to Michelle in 3 weeks. The irony wasn't lost on me. So you're here because Bob and Carol abandoned you, and now you remember I exist. Eric's eyes filled with tears. No. I'm here because I finally understand what I did to you. I'm here because my therapist asked me what would happen if you died tomorrow, and I realized I'd spend the rest of my life regretting that the last real conversation we had was me telling you Mom would be ashamed of you. Would she be? Ashamed of me? No, Eric whispered. She'd be ashamed of me. We sat in silence. I don't expect you to forgive me, Eric finally said. I don't even know if we can have a relationship again, but I needed you to know that I see it now. I see what I did. I see what I lost. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Dad. I looked at my son, really looked at him, for the first time in years. I saw the boy who used to climb into my lap and fall asleep, the teenager who'd helped me build that deck in the backyard, the young man who'd held his mother's hand as she died. But I also saw a man who'd hurt me deeply, who'd chosen money and status over love, who'd only come back when his other option disappeared. Eric, I need you to understand something. I'm not the same person I was 6 months ago. I'm not waiting by the phone anymore. I'm not organizing my life around hoping you'll show up. I've built something new, something that doesn't revolve around being your ATM or your backup plan. I know. Jennifer told me about Ireland, about the condo, about your woodworking class. Dad, I'm glad. I'm glad you're living your life. Are you? Or are you just saying that because Bob and Carol aren't available anymore? Both. Maybe, Eric said honestly. I won't lie. This situation with them opened my eyes. But it's not just that. It's also that I miss you. I miss my dad. The therapist asked me to remember the last time I did something for you. Not because you asked, but just because. And I couldn't, Dad. I couldn't remember the last time I just called to see how you were, or invited you to dinner without needing something, or asked about your life instead of just talking about mine. He wiped his eyes. I became the kind of man Mom would have been disappointed in, and I don't know if I can fix that, but I want to try. I thought about Sarah, about what she would want. She'd want me to be happy. I knew that. But she'd also want Eric to learn, to grow, to be better. Here's what I'll offer you, son. We start over, slowly. We meet for coffee once a month. You don't ask me for money. I don't bring up the past. We see if we can build something new. Once a month? That's all? That's where we start. You broke my trust, Eric. You broke my heart. That takes time to heal. Maybe a lot of time. Maybe forever. Eric nodded, tears streaming down his face. Once a month, I'll take it. Thank you, Dad. We finished our coffee mostly in silence. When we stood to leave, Eric hesitated, then hugged me. I hugged him back, but it felt different, more cautious, more guarded. I love you, Dad. I love you too, son, but love isn't enough anymore. You need to show up, consistently, without conditions. Can you do that? I'm going to try. We've been meeting for coffee for 4 months now. Once a month, like clockwork. Eric always shows up on time. He asks about my life, tells me about his. We don't talk about money. We don't talk about Bob and Carol. We're learning each other again. Last week, he brought photos from his childhood. That camping trip we took in '95, his middle school graduation, the time he broke his arm skateboarding, and I sat with him in the ER all night. I'd forgotten so much, he said, looking at the pictures. I'd forgotten how much you did, how much you were there. I was always there, Eric. You just stopped seeing me. He nodded. I see you now, Dad, and I'm going to keep showing up, however long it takes. I don't know if we'll ever have what we had before. Maybe that's okay. Maybe this new thing we're building is more honest, more real. Jennifer still comes over every week, still brings the grandkids. My woodworking class has become a highlight of my week. Patrick and I are planning another trip, this time to Portugal. I'm 64 now. I've been alone without Sarah for almost 4 years. I've been estranged from my son for almost 1. I've learned that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is let people face the consequences of their choices. I've learned that you can't pour from an empty cup. I've learned that standing up for yourself isn't selfish, it's survival. And I've learned that freedom, real freedom, sometimes means walking away from people you love so they can learn to appreciate what they had. Whether Eric truly changes remains to be seen. Whether we rebuild remains to be seen. But I know one thing for certain. I'm not waiting anymore. I'm living. And that's Sarah's real legacy. Not the money, not the sacrifices. The courage to choose yourself when everyone else has chosen someone else. She'd be proud of that. I think I finally am too.